afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another new edition of Africa Today, where we get you the latest news and events taking place on the local scene. And we start off with our major and special reports. The UN forces said that 3 Senegalese crew were killed and a 4th was injured when a combat by United Nations peacekeepers in the Central African Republic crashed in the west of the country. We have more details in the following report.
The United Nations force said 3 Senegalese crew were killed and a 4th was injured when a combat helicopter used by United Nations peacekeepers in the Central African Republic crashed in the west of the country. The crash of the Russian-made helicopter was confirmed by the Senegalese army in a statement. It was returning from an operational mission from the UN when the accident occurred. United Nations carried out an attack on an armed group called 3R at Koi in the northwest of the country. Separately, the rebel group said that its bases has been bombarded by UN forces. The 3R has been challenged by United Nations the day before to hand over those responsible for the killing of 46 civilians in the Papua region in northern Kar in May. Only 3 individuals have so far been turned over to the authorities. One of the world's poorest and most unstable nations, the Central African Republic, has suffered several violent crises since 2003 when former President Francois Bozize seized power in a coup. The country spiraled into bloodshed after Bozize was overthrown in 2013 by the Seleka alliance. Since then, fighting has forced nearly a quarter of the country's 4.5 million people to flee their homes, and rival militia groups control most of the country.
Welcome back. At least 52 people died when an illegal gold mine collapsed in northern Chad, with authorities still searching for more bodies. We have the details in the following report.
At least 52 people died when an illegal gold mine collapsed in northern Chad this week, with authorities still searching for more bodies. Chad officials initially said as many as 30 people may have died when the mine caved in on Tuesday in Khouri Bugodi in Tibesti province near the Libyan border, an area rife with illicit mining and smugglers. Another source who was part of a mission to visit the area also confirmed the new death toll. Tibesti is largely lawless and home to numerous gangs and traffickers seeking to profit from a gold rush in the area. Clashes in January between Arab miners from Libya and miners from Chad's Goudi community left dozens dead. Goudi has been the center of clashes among ethnic, local and foreign groups since 2012 and 2013. After the discovery of gold deposits there, the Chadian government had authorities mining companies to exploit the deposits, but rights groups accuse authorities of using Arab fighters to force a takeover of the area. Chad, a huge impoverished country in the heart of the Sahel, has been chronically unstable since it gained independence from France in 1960.
Welcome back, and moving on to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The health authorities in the DRC have announced plans to introduce a second experimental Ebola vaccine from mid-October. This vaccine, which is given as a 2-dose course 56 days apart, will be provided under approved protocols to targeted at-risk populations in areas that do not have active Ebola transmission as an additional tool to extend protection against the virus. Details.
The World Health Organization said the Democratic Republic of the Congo is to introduce a second vaccine next month to combat the Ebola virus, which has killed more than 2,100 people in the country. The announcement came as the aid group Doctors Without Borders accused the WHO of rationing the first Ebola vaccine in the DRC. The ongoing Ebola outbreak is the second worst one in history after more than 11,000 people were killed in Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia between 2014 and 2016. The WHO said last week that as of September 17th, DRC has registered a total of 3,145 cases of Ebola since the outbreak began over a year ago, including 2,103 deaths. It has declared the Ebola epidemic a public health emergency of international concern. Around 225,000 people have received the Ebola vaccine manufactured by German pharma giant Merck since August 8, 2018. The United Nations Health Agency has been pushing for the introduction of the second vaccine, but the DRC Health Ministry under former Minister Oli Ilunga had resisted such a move, citing the risks of introducing a new product in communities where mistrust of Ebola responders is already high.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and moving on to our main topic on Sudan. We're joined over the phone by Dr. Sharif Amir, political analyst and professor of international relations. Good afternoon, Dr. Sharif.
Good afternoon.
Sir, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry stressed the importance of removing Sudan from the list of states sponsoring terrorism to help the Arab country face its current economic challenges. How do you see this?
Well, the demand was made by Sudan itself, and then all the Arab countries rallied around the demand, and this is how the diplomatic affairs go, because Sudan now is just the same case of Libya that Egypt voiced concern from the beginning when we said that the arms embargo imposed on the Libyan regime at the time of Gaddafi has to be lifted. And now there is no Gaddafi, and there is no need to impose this kind of embargo. The same thing about Sudan. The problem was with al-Bashir. He had numerous problems with the West, numerous problems with the international community. Well, he's now in trial, and the people of Sudan deserve now to live freely. They have made bold steps in asking for democracy. They paid a very heavy price for it. And now they have to be encouraged by the international community by an act of solidarity, meaning getting rid of the problems of Bashir. And one of them is the sanctions, and that Sudan is being classified as a terrorist state. So I think that Egypt has a major role in it because, first of all, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is the president of the African Union now. He has the voice of all the African nations now to carry to the international community. So this is Egypt's role. Secondly, Egypt has a great influence in the politics of Sudan historically and culturally. So I think that we are the closest allies to Sudan in the international community. So Mr. Sameh Shoukry now, when he voices his concern about this issue, and that we have to help Sudan, that's in Egypt's interest also, not only in Sudan's interest, it's Egypt's interest and all the Arab countries' interest, because Sudan is a major country, a rich country, and it's aspiring to live under a new era of democracy.
Right. Dr. Sharif, Egypt has played a significant role along history, not only in Sudan, but in the Arab and Islamic world and Africa. How do you see the significance of the role Egypt is playing towards Sudan?
Well, Egypt's role is very significant, especially under the presidency of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who is a democratically elected president, the first democratic election in the Arab world. And he's the voice of 100 million Egyptians. So Egypt has a new stance now that is a newly democratic Egypt now. It's voicing its aspirations that all the Arab countries may join Egypt in this process of democracy. So what took place in Sudan, we were encouraging the people of Sudan to take these bold steps. The only thing that Egypt didn't want to see is the blood being shed there in the streets of Sudan. We urged all the factions to sit together. We urged the council, the military council, and the political factions to find an agreement. And fortunately, they went through all the negotiations under Egypt's auspice, and we managed at the end having the sovereign council, which has a transition period now in Sudan. So Egypt's role is significant in playing an important role in preserving peace, preserving security, ensuring that the people are getting what they need from democracy, from freedom of speech, and this is what Egypt started and wishes to see all the countries living in it, especially countries like Libya and Sudan, who are being devastated now by all these turmoils. So I think that the fact that we have excellent relations with our partners in Europe and with Moscow and Washington, we have the influence to explain the cause of these countries, the cause of these people who want to live in peace, who want to live under a new era of democracy. That's why President Sisi always urges the West to Africa to work with the Arab countries on development, because this is the only process that will ensure that democracy will be established. There will be no more terrorism and civil strife, because through development, young people will find jobs, young people will be encouraged to build their own countries. And this is what President Sisi ensured several times. No one will build the country of their own use. So we are working with our partners to explain Egypt's role of guarantor of security in this region and mediator in diplomacy. As we're seeing now, the Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry is never late. He is everywhere trying to explain Egypt's point of view. And fortunately, we have reached a great deal of understanding with our friends in France, for example, about Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar in Libya. So we explain many things, and we are trying to make it clear that countries like Sudan, countries like Libya are living in a new era. We have to ease the tensions with them. We have to lift the embargo. We have to help them to go through democracy and feel that they have made a change.
Right. Well, sir, a long history of relations between Egypt and Sudan, as you mentioned. How do you think we can further boost not only political and economic ties with Sudan, but also social and cultural ties?
Well, social and cultural ties, you can see it in the streets of Cairo and the streets of Egypt. We have a great deal of Sudanese, the community of Sudan here in Egypt is enormous. We have people from North and South Sudan also living in harmony and peace. They're enjoying the living in Egypt. They do not wish to be deported even by the UN agency, so they are protected by the people of Egypt. They feel that they are in the second home. Egypt was always the guarantor of peace, especially for Sudan. Whenever there was economic problems, political problems, the Sudanese people used to go to Egypt because Egypt was the safeguard, the refuge for this nation. So I think that on the political level also we have excellent relations on the agricultural level. We have excellent relations, exportation and importation. We have many committees between the two countries, economic ties, and culturally we have historical, of course. Egypt and Sudan were one country at one time. So this is the history cannot be forgotten like that. But the people of Sudan never forgot that Egypt is there for them. And this is what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi used to say from the beginning, that Egypt is the big brother of all these countries. We are there for them, to help them. And African nations all know now that Egypt's role is a role of solidarity, fraternity, and brotherhood.
Right. Dr. Sherif, do you think that Egypt and Sudan stands on the same ground when it comes to regional crisis?
Of course, we all suffered from terrorism, whether Egypt, whether Sudan, whether Libya and Syria. So I think that Egypt, when its voices is concerned about the unity of the country, like Syria, for example, well, I think that the Sudanese understand the pain of being shattered into two countries, North and South. They went through it in 2011. So I think that they understand that the unity of one country is the force that we cannot relinquish all that we have to work together, whether they're fighting or not, we have to work together for peace and security. The same thing for Libya. Libya now is being devastated by this war against terrorism. I think that the Sudanese share part of the borders with us, with Libya. They saw many infiltrations of these groups into their country. So they share with us the same point of view, that we have to find the solution based on fighting terrorism, endorsing the National Army of Libya. This is a regional security issue, and Egypt's point of view about that, even in the Red Sea, it's very important that we have excellent relations with the Sudanese on these points, and we indeed share the same point of view with the Army of Sudan and the political factions there.
Right. Sir, moving on to South Sudan, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry stressed that Egypt is keen on the stability of South Sudan. What about the situation now in South Sudan? How do you assess the current situation over there?
Well, we are witnessing now a new change in the dialogue between the President of Sudan, Salva Kiir, and his rival, Machar. Both of them came to Cairo. Both of them met President Sisi. They asked for his intervention. President Sisi, not only as the President of the African Union, but as President of Egypt now, he offered his mediation. Fortunately, we are waiting now that they will have a summit between both of them. We are not really having a real insurance that they will have eternal peace, but we are trying to put the first step into dialogue, because through dialogue both factions will have a new vision for South Sudan, which is an enormous rich country in oil and agriculture. So it's too bad to see that they are still killing each other upon tribal ideas. So I think that Egypt's mediation is crucial. It's very important. President Sisi has given a lot of time for it, and he's still opening the doors of Egypt for them to come and ask for negotiation and ask for advice. We are the guarantor of peace there. And in November, there will be a new summit between of them because of a new peace initiative made by the UN. So I hope that we will have positive results in November.
Right. Professor Dr. Sherif Amir, many thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure having you, sir. And dear viewers, with this we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.